Just ahead on this edition of the Newsfeed, the search for missing UVA student Hannah Graham continues. Find out what a Virginia Tech student organization is doing to raise awareness.
Plus, learn what goes into planning a homecoming campaign.
And hear what Hokies have to say about early kickoff times. Those stories and more coming up next. Hello, and thanks for joining us for this edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Samantha Eastman.
And I'm Adam Smith. The entire state has been closely watching as police in Charlottesville search for missing UVA student Hannah Graham, who disappeared on September 13th. One Virginia Tech organization is helping to raise awareness about Graham's disappearance after experiencing a similar situation when Virginia Tech student Morgan Harrington went missing in 2009. Cameron Austin tells us more.
It's been over a week since UVA second-year student Hannah Graham disappeared from the downtown Charlottesville Mall, but her disappearance hits close to home for the Tech community. This year marks 5 years since Morgan Harrington, a Virginia Tech student, was abducted and killed after attending a Metallica concert in downtown Charlottesville. But Help Save the Next Girl, an organization here at Virginia Tech, was founded in her honor and helps raise awareness and prevent other girls from going missing.
So that's our main message that we try to get across to people is be cautious, be aware of your situation, and be aware of other people. If you see somebody that is by themselves at a party and they don't look like they look intoxicated or something like that, you need to help them. You need to make sure that they know where they're going and that they're not alone.
The group holds meetings and events to inform the public on how to stay safe and educate the community about what they can do to help. They have chapters all over the state and are hoping to expand nationally as well. Help Save the Next Girl has not given up hope that Morgan's killer will be brought to justice and Hannah will be found alive and safe.
She disappears. She doesn't disappear. She is not lost, as Joe Harrington says. She's stolen. She's abducted. And the Harringtons are outraged. They're heartbroken. We are, all of us in Help Save the Next Girl, sick.
The group plans on making a trip to Charlottesville on October 19th to pay respects to Morgan. I'm Cameron Austin, reporting for the Newsfeed.
The Center of Virginia Tech's campus is expected to see a variety of enhancements in the next 2 years. However, all students are on board with the plans. Virginia Tech Planning Services is working to enhance the aesthetics of the drill field, which has served as the center of campus since 1894. So far, they have paved the dirt paths, but expect to implement more changes. Of those, they plan to build identifiable entrances and place seating walls and tables around the edges. Some students are hesitant about the changes.
I think it's important to keep it somewhat open. If they want to put stuff around the sides to make it nicer, tables or whatever, that's fine with me, but I think the middle needs to be kept open, like the vast majority of it. That's what makes the drill field.
A student petition has also started to prevent any changes on the drill field that would take away from its recreational space. Meanwhile, Alumni Mall has been the first to undergo changes to realign parking. A new station for Blacksburg Volunteer Rescue Squad is closer to becoming a reality as the current facility on Progress Street in downtown Blacksburg struggles to meet the demands of the agency. In June, the Blacksburg Town Council voted to authorize a design-build contract with Omega Construction and WMA Architects. The new facility will be located at the corner of Progress Street and Patrick Henry Drive and will cost $5.7 million. The new facility will be provided the agency more room for housing, administrative offices, and training. More bunk rooms allow for a larger in-house staff and more efficient responses. Larger bays will also be able to hold modern, larger vehicles.
The town's existing station here at 200 Progress Street is quite dated. And you can see some of our larger equipment here has a hard time fitting into this building.
The current facility was constructed in the 1950s and cannot comfortably hold modern equipment and training. Currently, both Volunteer Rescue Squad and Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department share the facility.
We're going to have dedicated training labs. Right now we have to move couches out of the way to do our CPR demos and stuff. We'll have dedicated spaces for that. Blacksburg
Volunteer Rescue Squad is comprised of about 120 members. Construction of the new facility will begin this fall with a completion date set for November 2015.
Virginia Tech Homecoming is officially underway. Voting for Homecoming King and Queen starts this week, and the culminating event is the football game against Western Michigan on Saturday. Homecoming candidates have spent months preparing their campaigns with the help of their sponsoring organizations. The candidates rely on their organizations for support throughout the week, as it will be busy.
As Virginia Tech students, faculty, and alum look forward to next weekend's homecoming game against Western Michigan University, homecoming candidates have been anticipating the event since late last semester.
What I did prepping for homecoming over the summer, I wasn't so much buying things for homecoming, but it was more talking to my committee members and just making sure I had a solid idea and a solid plan of what I was going to do.
Even though homecoming candidates were not allowed to begin campaigning until September 14th, their sponsoring organizations had already begun prepping websites, social media profiles, designing and printing custom t-shirts, and gathering items for booths. In recent years, utilizing websites and various social media sites such as Instagram and Twitter have aided candidates' campaigns to spread the word quickly and effectively throughout campus. Candidates also use hashtags to indicate their slogan and update their profiles often.
A few other things were definitely trying to get t-shirt designs done. That was major, something that was big that I had to do before school started. Other stuff, just having ideas of vendors that I was gonna use for maybe t-shirts or what I was gonna buy. Usually it was just organizing and having lists written down.
In the weeks leading up to homecoming, candidates go through a period of soft and hard campaigning. Last week, candidates and their supporters were allowed to wear t-shirts and all campaign websites and social media profiles went live. This week, candidates will begin hard campaigning, which allows them to set up booths outside popular dining halls and interact with voters. Voting ends on Thursday evening, and winners will be announced at the culminating event, the football game against Western Michigan, on Saturday afternoon. This has been Megan Amron reporting for the Newsfeed.
Just ahead on the news feed, hear what upset football fans have to say about early kickoff times.
That story and more after this break.
So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Welcome back to the newsfeed. Newman Library is a familiar location for students, but it's putting on a new face. A series of renovations that started in 2012 are finally coming together in the form of new carpets, doors, furniture, and rooms. Aside from a burst pipe in January, the renovations have been relatively free of complications. The list of renovations includes the addition of a scale-up classroom, ICAT classrooms, and the Vet Med Library. Scott Fralin, Library Outreach Support Specialist, says that it's not all about the building. Part of the library's new direction includes community outreach centered around the recently renovated multi-purpose room.
This room specifically is, it's less than a year old. I think we first opened it last November, and it was part of one of the first wave of renovations which happened down here on the first floor. And it really just filled a need that we had here at the library for a nice meeting space, also a space to do things like this that you see here. Because before we didn't have anything like this at all.
On Thursday, the multi-purpose room was home to the library's sponsored retro video game night. Classic games from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s were set up for students to enjoy. The turnout wasn't spectacular, but the event represents a step in the right direction for the library.
Students this semester are for the first time enjoying classes at Virginia Tech's new signature engineering building. The $95.2 million building officially opened in June. The university announced on September 18th that the building, which will be dedicated in late October, will be named Goodwin Hall in recognition of the $25 million gift that the university received from Bill and Alice Goodwin. That gift is the single largest contribution in Virginia Tech history. Students like Andrew Santos are impressed with the new building's design.
First impressions are amazing. I think there's definitely a lot of design, a lot of thought that has gone into the building. I haven't been able to explore it as much as I would like. I know there's some pretty neat stuff upstairs, but just behind me seeing an engine, a turbine engine hanging from the ceiling is pretty cool to see.
Goodwin Hall brings to Virginia Tech 8 new classrooms, 40 new labs, and 150 new offices.
Torg Museum in Torgerson Hall received a facelift as it has been converted into a new technology center. Now called the TLOS Learning Studio, the room is the result of a merger between Learning Technologies and the Institute for Distance and Distributed Learning. According to doctors Shelley Fowler, head of this renovation, Torg Museum was not in use, so she decided to transform it into a tech sandbox. The space is for faculty to learn how to work with 21st century students. Dr. Amy Nelson, professor of Russian history at Virginia Tech, is one of these faculty members currently testing the facility.
My class is a class-sourced project, so rather than delivering content, the students actually are creating all the content for the course, and so this setup is just ideal because it gives them a place to kind of workshop material and process it together.
The room features a 9-panel video wall, MacBook Pro cart, cafe area, and AirPlay technology so users can share work instantly.
The time of Virginia Tech football games hold a lot of weight in Blacksburg, and recent game times have affected the way Hokies spend game day. Reporter Rachel Franks has more.
Thanks, Adam. So the 3 Virginia Tech home football games in September all have kickoffs before 1 p.m. Many Hokie fans are not too pleased with these early starts. The Tech games against East Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Northern Michigan all start at 12 or 12:30. This means less time for tailgating and traveling before the game. Hokie alumni who spend lots of money to see Tech play are not fans of the early games. Carl Williams, a 1982 graduate, says the early kickoffs take away from the college football experience.
I just flew in from Dallas and I got here at 2 a.m. So I'm on about 4 hours of sleep. And the fact that we have to go to a football game in 2 hours upsets me. I think later games add to the experience. Football's not a cheap thing. To have to come out and shell $100 out in a ticket and then rush to a 12 o'clock kickoff, it's really not a lot of fun.
The main reason the game starts so early is because of TV scheduling. If the Hokies are playing a big-name school or the game has postseason implications, there's a larger chance it will start later in the day. The other games taking place that Saturday also have an impact, especially the other ACC games. While students would enjoy more tailgating time, they still find ways to have fun with the time they have. Senior Nancy Stevenson doesn't let early kickoffs get in the way of her tailgating.
12 o'clock's a little early, can't tailgate as much, but we push on through.
Waking up extra early and stocking up on Bloody Marys and breakfast sausages are just some of the ways fans cope with 12 o'clock kickoffs. A bright spot for Hokie fans is that in a couple of weeks, they are playing Miami on Thursday night, which will give them plenty of time for tailgating. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Rachel. That'll wrap up this edition of the News Feed. If you have a story idea for the News Feed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Samantha Eastman.